Guys, welcome. Happy Monday. Appreciate you joining us. Today, we're going to talk about the ever elusive buyer brokerage agreement. Should you sign it or should you hold off? And we'll give you the reasons why.
You better get fired up.
Miss Hurtado, happy Monday. How you doing?
Happy Monday. How are you, Joe?
I'm incredible, man. I am incredible. Thank you. So we've got a pretty good topic, something that pops up with a lot of different folks in the realm of buying. And anytime you get out and you look at homes, we're taught as realtors to approach you and say, hey, I'd like you to sign an agreement. It's called a buyer brokerage agreement. There's a buyer representation agreement. There's a bunch of different terms for it, but it's all the same thing. And what that agreement does is it essentially connects the buyer and the agent. Okay. It does a couple different things for the buyer, it does a couple different things for the agent. For the buyer, it says, hey, you've got representation. There's actually a list of fiduciary duties that it allows that buyer from that agent, right? For the agent, it says, hey, I'm a serious enough buyer. I'm committed to you. So you can feel comfortable giving me more of your time, your effort, your value, everything else, because you know at the end of the day, being 100% commission, if I buy, you're the one who's going to make the money, right? So there's a little bit of loyalty and thus hopefully understood added commitment and time and effort on the behalf of the agent. So with that said, Lissette, what are your thoughts on this agreement? Is this something buyers should be signing?
I love this document in itself. I think it's so informative. And just as we have a listing agreement with our sellers, this is an agreement that we're making with our buyers. And this kind of outlines as well what our responsibilities are and what we owe you in our representation throughout the transaction and just showing properties and such forth. So it's awesome to have this agreement with your agent, with your broker, and knowing that someone's going to have your back and guide you throughout the entire transaction. And it builds that trust and loyalty also between you and your agent.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a couple things too. I think a lot of buyers look at it like, if I really love you or you're a close friend or a family member, sure, I'll sign it. But if not, I don't want to sign it. Guys, you're getting some out of this too. I'll tell you, a lot of agents, especially the higher end agents, aren't going to give you the time, commitment, effort, all that good stuff unless you sign it because they've got other buyers signing it, right? So they're going to put their time and effort where they know, hey, if this person buys, I'm going to be protected. I'm going to get paid. So it's worth it to put my time and effort in. Now, I understand from buyers' perspectives, they're thinking, well, I don't know you yet. I don't know if you're good. I don't know if you're hardworking. I don't know if you're intelligent. I don't know if you're a good negotiator. I don't want to commit to anything. Why would I? Well, you would because you want that added level of service and hard work and dedication and commitment and all that good stuff. But you're right. You don't know them. So what I would suggest is when an agent wants to get you in a contract with them, number one, review it because there's, different things that they can put in that would, potentially put you in harm's way. And number two, ask them, what happens if we get, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks down the road and you're not picking up your phone, you're not responding to my emails, you're not reaching out and get me the information I want. Am I stuck with you? And a lot of times they will allow you to put a clause in that states, hey, here are the things I promise. If I'm not giving you these things, you can scratch this contract up at any point that you'd like, right? And I think that that's critical. I'll tell you too, and there's both a pro and a con to this. There's a part in that contract where it says you as the buyer owe the agent X percent, whatever it is. Let's just throw a number out there, 3%. You owe that buyer's agent 3% of the sale of the home. But right above that line, it states you owe the below listed amount minus anything that buyer's agent is making from the seller or the listing agent, right? So now if that that listing is paying out 3% and you owe me 3% as a buyer, that kind of scratches each other out. You owe me nothing, right? Well, there's a pro and a con there. Number one, the con is if you come up to a listing that isn't paying that amount, you would potentially owe that difference. Now, a lot of agents aren't going to make you pay that difference. So let's say I've got you at 3 and it's paying me 2.5. Not a lot of agents are going to make you pay that difference, but legally you would be on the hook for it. So be careful. Make sure you know what you're getting into. That's the con, right? What's the pro? The pro is if you go talk to a builder or a for sale by owner on the weekends, or maybe you go talk to someone who's paying out a really itty bitty commission because they're trying to save money. Now, when you get under contract with that person on the weekends because you didn't call your agent and you should have, now your buyer's agent can come back to that builder or FSBO or whoever and say, hey, my client may not have the money to move forward unless you are paying me a commission, right? And you might think, well, how does that help me as a buyer? I don't care if they make a commission, right? Well, it helps you because you get representation. I can't tell you how many times a buyer who loves me and wants representation, they think they're doing me a favor. So they go out on a Saturday, they get under contract with a builder, and then all of a sudden they call me on Monday and I can't represent them unless they pay me a commission, right? Had we had that buyer rep agreement, I'd have a little bit of leverage. I could call that builder and say, I don't know that my buyer can move forward unless you wrap me into the deal. Now they got representation. Can't tell you how many times builders have put buyers into tough situations because builders are sharks, man, right? Agents are sharks. We know how the game is played. You guys are sheep, right? You need someone representing you to save you from these sharks. And we are looking at these documents. Those builders build non-Florida documents. It's not the standard Florida document that you're going to see that's 12 pages everywhere else. It's their own document that heavily favors them, that their attorneys wrote. And it's going to, in a lot of cases, guarantee escrow funds up front, right? So even if you've got contingency, sure, you can get out of the deal, but we're going to keep your escrow funds. Not all cases, but in a lot of cases. Or, hey, between when we started and when we finished, the price of goods went up. So instead of charging you X, we're going to charge you X plus 20, 30, 40 grand, whatever the costs go up. It's in their contract. And if you don't have somebody representing you, holy smokes, that could cost you. So again, there are pros and cons here. I wouldn't say do it or don't do it. I would say make sure you're educated and make sure you're putting yourself in the position you truly want to be in, understanding everything involved. And guys, no matter what situation you get into, you can always reach out to Lissette and I. We're more than happy to look over it, even if we're not your agents, and explain to you exactly what you're getting into. Lissette, what are your thoughts on that?
No, you made some great points, specifically when it comes to the builders. And sometimes we do have our clients that go out and meet with these builders. And before you know it, they're under contract. And then they're calling us on Sunday and I'm under contract. And you're like, what? Wait, I didn't read the contract. I wasn't there. And, a lot of times we come across these builders that are nice and are willing to work with us. And we get into the deal and we're able to review and protect our client and provide them guidance throughout the way. But there's times that they won't. And having this document gives us a little bit more of force, a little bit of a fight back to prove to the builder we've been working with them for X amount of time and we were under an agreement already. So I would definitely recommend it.
Well, and I'll tell you from a builder's point of view too, if we're to go down that road, it's pretty common for a buyer to come completely unrepresented. The agent doesn't do anything. And in a lot of cases, there was no Lissette or Joe truly showing them 5, 10, 15, 20 houses, giving them information, putting them on audit. There was no agent, but all of a sudden they're at Sunday dinner after they signed the paperwork on Saturday and they're talking to Uncle Joe. And Uncle Joe says, I'll call him on Monday and tell him I'm the realtor. That way I'll make 3%. Well, that's not really fair to a builder, right? So there's a reason builders do it. Builders aren't out for blood. They're not out trying to take advantage of people. They're simply business people, and they're trying to protect themselves, which makes complete sense. So it is on an agent to explain that to their buyer. If that buyer wants to be loyal and they want representation, it's on the buyer to make sure they get the agent there on the weekends to look at those homes, assuming you're on weekends. And guys, agents know getting into real estate, I'm working nights and weekends, man. At least the good ones are, the full-time ones are. So you're not bothering us. We want the action. It's what we're addicted to. You want to list homes. You want to sell homes. You want to write contracts. It's what we love to do. So you calling us on a Sunday morning saying, hey, I want to go out and take a look at these 3 new construction homes. Will you come with me? We're thinking, heck yeah, we'll come with you. This sounds like a blast. Let's go. So guys, reach out anytime. Lissette, any closing remarks or nuggets for recommendations?
If you're a new buyer and you just don't understand the document, sit down with your agent and have them explain it to you. It may seem scary up front, but once they walk you through it, this document's really, made to protect you and your agent. And if you have any questions or anything, you want to even negotiate on that commission, you could also do that as well.
Beautifully said. Guys, I appreciate you joining us. If you've got any other questions ever about anything, or you've got future video ideas, reach out to either one of us. We're more than happy to put that together for you. Have an amazing day. Thanks, Lissette.